Hello again mga kaplantito, kaplantita. Welcome to this channel again. Today, we have here a huge Ficus triangularis variegata. Actually, napakita ko na to before in one of my previous videos. However, it was still a small plant. This time, it's grown so big, mataas na siya, malaki na siya. So, I have to trim it down already. However, sayang yung mga branches kasi I already tried water propagation before or cuttings directly sa soil, walang nag-survive. So, the only method that worked for me is through air layering or marketing. Yun yung gagawin natin ngayon. Ito sa gagawin kong marketing, I have to be careful kasi I just noticed there's a bird's nest pala. So, kawawa naman. So, iingatan natin yan. Okay. So, bago natin makalimutan, I'd like to remind you to click the subscribe button para po ma-update kayo whenever there are new videos na ina-upload itong channel na to. Okay, salamat po. Ngayon po, pakita ko muna yung mga kakailanganin natin dun sa marketing. So, we have here an ice wrapper. We call this ice wrapper or ice water wrapper. Any size will do. Wag lang yung ice candy wrapper. We also need a knife and itong pantali. Any type of string will do. So, I have here, I think this is a nylon cord, whatever. So, ito yung mga gagamitin natin. Okay, first what we do is lalagyan natin ng soil itong ice wrapper. Ayan, so lalagyan na natin to ng soil. Hindi natin to kailangan punuin ng soil tong wrapper na to. We only need enough for marketing purposes. The soil that we need is actually pre-moistened soil. However, I prefer na dry soil muna ang ilalagay sa wrapper para malinis. Kasi otherwise, if you put in wet soil na kaagad, dumidikit siya sa wrapper at ang dumitingnan siya. Yan. So, dahil dry siya, sprayhan natin siya ng water para maging moist na siya habang nasa loob na siya ng wrapper. So, ito, okay na to siya. Pwede na natin tong gamitin. Next is, i-ready na natin tong branch na to. So, I have already pre-selected this branch. But first, we have to remove these extra twigs. Ayan. And by the way, just a reminder, kasi pag nasusugatan tong plant na to, you notice that may white milky sap that would come out from the plant that actually contains latex and it may cause allergic reaction. So I suggest that you wear gloves while doing this. Ako kasi, I have done this before. Okay naman for me. So, I'm not wearing gloves pagka ginagawa ko to. But I make sure to wash my hands after. Then we make a cut. It's like making a ring-shaped cut paikot dito sa branch na to. Ayan. Ang purpose nito is para maging easy for us to slice off the bark layer. We also make another ring-shaped cut at the bottom. Yan na yung magiging basis natin for slicing off the bark. Mas madali na siyang balatan tong portion na to ng branch ng Ficus triangularis variegata. Yun guys, so kailangan lang sharp yung knife na gagamitin nyo, but make sure lang din na hindi kayo masusugatan when you're doing this. Next is, babalatan na natin paikot tong portion na to. So, see, madali na siyang tanggalin. So, ito na yung piece of bark layer na kailangan natin tanggalin. So, dapat malinis tong part na to. Okay, so we also remove the bark layer at the back. Yan. So, the ring cut that we made earlier, yun yung naging guide natin para balatan tong branch na to. So, yung ring cut na ginawa natin, hanggang dun lang din yung length na pwede natin gawin. That should be enough. Actually, other people, ginagawa nila mas mahaba, like 2 inches or even more. Pero for me, okay na ako sa 1 inch lang na haba nung portion na babalatan for air layering purposes. Just make sure na malinis all throughout, pati yung likod should be also clean and dapat natanggal lahat ng bark layer. Okay? So, that should be enough. Then, next is my favorite cinnamon powder. Lalagyan ko lang ng cinnamon powder yung portion na binalatan na natin. So, yan. Naniniwala kasi tayo that cinnamon has antifungal properties and it also helps out in root development. So, magiging mas mabilis yung root development nitong air layering natin with the use of cinnamon powder. And then, ilalagay na natin yung string or yung pantali. So, this is very important that we do this before putting in the plastic wrap with the soil. Kasi, ito yung magsisecure dun sa ice wrapper na ikakabit natin later. Okay, so we have to do a running bowline knot. Ganito. Ayan. Kasi itong type of knot will make it easy for you to adjust depending on the size of the soil or the plastic wrap that you're going to put in. Yan, hilain nyo lang if you want to loosen it up or i-push nyo palapit if you want to tighten it. So we now have the soil that we have prepared kanina. So ang gagawin lang natin, gagawa tayo ng slit sa gitna. Yan, careful lang na huwag kayong masusugatan. Okay, so dahil moistened na yung soil, madali na siyang i-manage. And next is, ilalagay na natin dun sa binalatan na portion ng branch ng ficus plant. Ayan. Kaya lang we have to remove pa the other twig kasi natatamaan siya. So we have to remove this one. Okay. Ayan. And then, i-adjust lang natin ng maayos yung soil. And may extra wrapper pa tayo na pwede natin gamitin to secure this wrap. Now, gamitin natin pang balot yung excess portion ng ice wrapper. So, yun yung gagamitin natin paikot dun sa soil. Ganyan. And then, ngayon na natin kailangan yung string na nilagay natin. So, yun yung tutulong to secure the soil. The plastic wrap with the soil. So, ayan na. So, madali na lang siyang ikabit. Kasi nakalagay na siya doon. And then, konting hila na lang, mag-fit na siya kaagad doon sa wrapper. At dahil outdoor yung location ng Ficus triangularis natin, kailangan natin i-water every now and then yung propagation natin by using this syringe. How do we do it? Kailangan natin butasan yung propagation natin. So, it's up to you kung ilan yung butas na kailangan mo. One would be enough or pwedeng dagdagan. Okay, so, itong butas na to, ito yung gagamitin natin para i-water itong propagation natin. Okay, so madali lang siya. Yan. And then, syempre, sometimes uulan, kailangan natin i-make sure na hindi din nag-water log yung propagation. So, kailangan natin butasan sa ilalim para in case may excess water or excess moisture, may madadaanan din siya. And just make sure na hindi mahuhulog lahat ng soil. Okay? Pakita ko na rin paano pumili ng tamang branch na pwede ninyong i-markot. So, this is the typical type of branch na pwede nyo nang i-markot. Notice that the bark layer is mature already. Madali na siyang balatan. This is the main trunk. Ito siya ang main trunk wherein the apical bud is still there. So, yun yung responsible ng elongation niya pataas. So, magandang i-markot yan if you don't want your tree to grow taller. Okay, so mature na rin yan, pwede nang i-markot. Whereas, ito, mas manipis pa. Aside from manipis, bata pa yung bark layer niya. So, this is not yet advisable for marketing. Okay, so mas maganda, you choose the more mature bark layer for marketing. This one is a product of my marketing before. So far, lahat ng marketing na nagawa ko sa plant na to, 100% successful. Aside from Ficus triangularis, you can also do marketing or air layering dito sa Nong Nooch Vine or Golden Garland. Mukha siyang soft na stem but actually woody stem ito, especially the mature ones. I also tried water propagation on this plant pero hindi siya naging successful. So, marketing lang talaga or air layering ang pwede dito sa plant na to. So, for plant care, don't make a mistake by putting this plant indoors kasi hindi ito indoor. I used to have this inside the house pero it started losing leaves so nilipat ko outside. So nung nilipat sa labas, dun bumilis yung growth niya. So it's not an indoor plant, it is an outdoor plant.